Welcome to the CPro podcast. I'm Executive Editor Arlen Schweiger. With a background in smart city technologies, Iveda is now eyeing smart home. The release of Iveda Care brings an AI-driven software solution powered by sensors straight into the hands of integrators, and though it focuses on aging in place solutions, the possibilities go far beyond that. The solution is scalable, customizable, and comes with out-of-the-box readiness that can be expanded upon needs as they change. Though the core focus is for aging in place, the software is capable of being used in energy and environmental monitoring solutions, gathering data, and allowing pros to develop truly intelligent automations for their clients. In his first podcast since joining CE Pro as web editor, Nick Fover speaks with David Lai, CEO of Iveda, to learn more about the product and its potential use cases for integrators in both residential and commercial channels. As always, be sure to subscribe to CE Pro's YouTube channel and hit that like button on our videos, or subscribe to the CE Pro podcast on Apple and Spotify and leave a review.
David, thank you for coming on today to chat with me.
Thank you, Nick. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. I knew once I heard about Iveda Care that I really wanted to, one, talk to you more about it, and two, kind of get this out in front of CE Pro's audience, because I feel as though, we talked about it a little bit before, but I think this is like a really great opportunity, especially for people that are kind of looking to branch out to new business opportunities, especially within, senior care and kind of the aging in place market.
Yeah, no, this is a wonderful opportunity for me to share what we've, recently launched, and I myself, along with, friends and relatives, this is brings it really close to home, a real grassroots effort, if you want to say, taking high tech and really letting everybody become familiar with what it can really do for us in our day-to-day support of our seniors. And, we're really talking about our aunts and uncles and moms and dads. So very close to the heart this time in sharing this technology.
Absolutely. So I guess before we get into it, I'd love to hear a little bit more about yourself, where you came from originally and how you eventually came to be here at Iveda.
Where I came from originally, I'll try to give you the whole spectrum, but very quick is
okay, I didn't realize that was going to be that big of a story.
No, I've always been a technology guy. I'm actually an immigrant, proud immigrant to the United States here at the age of 5 from Vietnam. That I came to the States, I was a boat baby. Went to school in San Francisco, got out of school with a civil engineering degree. But during that time, 99, it was that mid towards tail end of the .com. So no matter what you did, you went right into technology. You were part of some .com, and very fortunate, I have to say, and very thankful. From there, I became a telecom guy, wireless communication, wireless signals, cellular, Wi-Fi, and then networking. And with networking, you do a lot and you understand how, the nature of managing data. And long story short, from the telecommunications experience, I met a lot of wonderful people in different industries. And one of them was security. So from there is what spawned my history with Iveda. I've actually grown and matured almost 2 decades, Nick. I founded the company in 2003. The company started operating and doing sales and business just prior to 2005. And the rest was history. Our company evolved from a security video surveillance in the cloud from back in 2005, if you can believe that. And over time, maturity of data management, maturity of leveraging and measuring how you may be able to utilize data effectively is what brought us into the age of AI, right? And big data. So here we are today, from a 20-year evolution here with Iveda. We've seen and learned a lot. So what we put out today is based on real world engagements with just real people all around the world. It's been a blessing for me. So thank you for asking.
No, absolutely. I always love to hear the stories behind these things because it very rarely does life ever take a linear path. So it's always great to hear that sort of stuff. I feel like you guys are very well suited for, you know, the current market trend where it is all about that kind of like data collection and being able to kind of bring that into this software that is able to make really well-informed decisions. And I think that's probably a good segue to start talking about IVEDACare itself. If you don't mind, you know, kind of explaining a little bit more about what this all entails.
Yeah, you know, Ayurveda's core starts with what we hear now in the industry, the term IoT, the Internet of Things. And we have a lot of things that measure data, right? That is all connected over IP into the internet. So I'm just trying to make sense of terms that everybody hears. Ayurveda has sensors, Nick, similar to, you know, almost a decade ago, we heard about smart homes, right? And we would buy kits, either DIY kits, or we would have integrators or your local security companies come by and install sensors in your doors, your windows, your thermostats, you know, water sensors. It just keeps tabs of what's happening, what's moving around the home. Well, if you kind of extend that concept a little further, Ayurveda Care just takes it up a notch, leveraging almost the ideal yet similar sensors. We add a little bit more to it, from motion of all the objects around the house, the ingress, egress, doors, windows, people, animals, etc. Here's where the difference lies. Unlike past technology, where it was simply a trigger and a alert, that's wonderful. You knew what happened, but then what, right? You're at work, so the door opened. You're not much you can do, but just know. What's happening now is we're applying intelligence with an AI backend. The same data that used to alert you and I that, hey, something moved over here, something moved over there. It's good to know, but we ourselves couldn't do anything. So with the assistance of artificial intelligence, what's different now is all those sensors that are generating those alerts at home and the people that are moving around at home from one section of the home to another, opening up a drawer, medicine cabinet, utilizing the restroom, sitting on the sofa, all that is now really relevant data, Nick. Ayurveda Care, it has an AI backend with an app that doesn't alert you when something just moves. This is how it's going to work. The service provides you and I are sitting here at work, and it's going to go ahead and tell you at 9:30. It chooses because it learns the lifestyle and our movements over time. It's going to say, Mom is doing well today. That's what it's going to say. Mom is doing well today. Why? She woke up at normal time at around 9 o'clock. The front door opened twice. That meant she went in and out. She went to the restroom multiple times, visited the kitchen, sat in the sofa for just 20 minutes, got up and moved around again. Looks like she's doing okay at this point in time. That's the new kind of alert, assisted by AI with Ayurveda Care. Long gone the days of, hey, there's motion. Great. So what, right? So the AI makes an assessment of activity and then provides a measure of, you know, normal or abnormal activity, and then it alerts you and I on the day-to-day. The longer it works with you, the more it adapts to our lifestyle.
Now, who do you see as being like the core user base for this? Because from, you know, just from what you've been describing, it kind of seems as though it can go both ways. You can either be sort of pitching this towards a professional caretaker who is trying to, like, you know, take care of somebody who may be living at home or maybe even in just a general senior care facility, or it could even be, you sell this to, say, a family member who their loved one wants to live in place. And so they want to be able to let them do that, but they also want to be able to make sure that they're safe at all times.
Yeah, we definitely want to given the AI and technology background and our company's pursuit of building smart city technologies. That's another term that we hear about. But we're really committed now to developing, technology-led solutions for aging in place. What do I mean by that, right? We're talking about a future where the future's now, where digital tools will enhance the lives of both the seniors and the caregivers. Now, we know who our seniors may be, but the caregivers, this is, I think, answers your question. Could be you and me, or it could be all the services that you and I would hire, right, for our parents and our relatives. Now, the caregiving community and service providers, I feel that technology, it provides a force multiplier to a lot of industries. And I can still use that same term and analogy that it will provide and become a force multiplier to the caregiver industry. Facilities that either on-prem facility or services where we would have visitors to our seniors' home. So right now, you don't have enough staff to care for everybody in the timely manner that you would wish. But providing AI technology for which Ayveda Care can enable, and we're talking being able to really understand the security and health conditions of our loved ones, but yet some decision making. It's a real feel good and I would say peace of mind technology for both you and I, and also going back to the caregiving community, the service providers. Big time. Mm-hmm.
Oh no, absolutely. And I'm glad that you brought up Ayveda's background in smart cities, because I think that's something that is worth mentioning with the product. Because one of the things that I remember when I first read the press release that you guys sent out for the launch of Ayveda Care was this idea that you could start in something as small as just a regular home, or it could be expanded to cover multiple houses within a neighborhood. And so I was wondering if you could kind of speak to that scalability of the product, being able to start at this kind of very granular level and sort of be able to expand outward to be able to accommodate these bigger facilities.
Oh, good segue. The Ayveda Care with the AI platform comes from a core, again, of the concept of citywide deployments, having to manage multiple sectors, neighborhoods, departments. Well, in bringing it down to care, it's either in our home or in multiple large facilities in different regions. But the greatest thing is all comes down to the software platform, right? Scalability in sensors is you either have one door, one bed, or 300 doors and 300 beds. In the world of sensors, doesn't mean anything. Highly scalable, highly affordable. But having the human respond and the ability to make decisions timely and effectively and meaningful is where it's difficult. And this is where Ayveda Care with the AI backend is highly scalable. Whether you are in a single home and you and I, Nick, are tending to mom, that's a small scale. Whether our home is a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, or we can have a giant mansion, again, scalability and sensors does not matter. But here's where the true value is. The caregiving community with multiple facilities across the country, around the world, one organization may tend to multiple geographical location, but yet they're single organization. That organization may have maybe 300 patients to 3,000 patients. Again, the software scales based on the size of the account, whether it's just me and you on personal or from a B2B concept. Ayurveda Care is really designed to reduce the burdens of our caregiver. So again, I'm going to come back to that term, force multiplier. So I hope that answers your question there.
No,
Yeah,
it does. It does really well. Thank you. I guess the other question too is that with that scalability and all this talk about the sensors that get used, because obviously the AI is the backbone of this. It's the thing that's going to be able to process all of this information coming into it. And obviously we need the sensors to start that. And I was curious, in reading through the press release, Ayurveda Care was said to have kind of like this open API. And so I'm curious just by seeing that. I always get excited when I see that, because that means, it's a lot easier to put in kind of like disparate products into a single ecosystem. Does Ayurveda Care operate on its own proprietary sensors, or is it possible to incorporate, other sensors onto it?
Awesome. The answer is yes and yes. And I'll tell you why. In order to provide an easy progression, we have to start somewhere. We have to, so in order to provide the end user the most simple way of lighting up a service, we have a starter kit. And yes, in that kit, all the sensors are made by us, right? But here's the cool thing. The sensors and the kit in our technology world, Nick, is just hardware. To us, it's just hardware. It's like you and I going to Home Depot, Best Buy, and we're picking up something off the shelf. The good news is this: once you get started, and if our sensors don't satisfy your growing needs and evolving needs into the future, this is where future proofing comes in a real play, right? Not just a vocabulary. Ayurveda's back end, yes, we be happy to work and integrate other hard products and sensors, because when you talk about the world of IoT, Internet of Things, you got to be able to work with everything. So we took that into mind with our back end, and yes, we can have sensors eventually. We're talking about the Philips light bulb, the Samsung refrigerator, right? You're talking about a patient that opens up the refrigerator, and if that refrigerator can measure how much water one drank in a day, that just adds to the intelligence of that can help inform our caretakers of decisions regarding the health of the patients every day. So very open, very integratable, but we have to start somewhere. So I don't want to say that Ayurveda Care is necessarily wide open, but we had to start with the kit to get our users familiar with it, plant the seed. But once it expands and grows and branches that need to expand, then yes, we are capable and we welcome. I want to add something here. Being more specific, what is it that we welcome? Blood glucose monitoring. Just think about that. Everything here is to plant the seed so that eventually we move into a real and true possibility with data, telehealth, and telemedicine. Because decision made by telemedicine is requiring a lot of data in real time for the doctor to decide. And what do we call that when you go to the doctor to diagnose? So for a doctor to make a diagnosis, the more data he or she has, the better. So you can see here when I say this is just planting the seed, though it's a very powerful start, we're going somewhere with this.
So yeah, it definitely seems like, and I'm glad you brought that up, because again, I had another question for it, because I know you guys are really focusing on the messaging of senior care right now. But I did also see mention in that same press release, energy monitoring, water monitoring, a lot of those stuff. And so my other question was going to be, how customizable are the functions of the software? Because, for at least for me, maybe for people who are more familiar with this sort of thing, may seem obvious, but for me personally, when I hear that sort of things, I have to imagine that being able to make decisions based off of how much energy you're using in a day vary wildly from decisions based on somebody moving about in a house.
I think you'll like this one. We launched Ayurveda Care with a focus to improve senior care and elderly assistance. But Ayurveda Care derived from a much larger platform of Ayurveda's Smart City platform. So yes, that single app that is now with the AI, with the focus of monitoring the health and conditions and safety and security of a senior, if you can imagine adding more data to it, and that data is exactly what you're asking, the outlets in the house, smart metering of outside of the house where we have our power panel, water pump, water flow meters, a lot of things, air and environmental sensors, all that to Ayurveda is just data. So we customize a small component, let's just say, of our larger platform to tend to our seniors in this industry, and in the focus for what Ayurveda Care, the product, is becoming. But yes, answer your questions. We came from, remember, security integration, public safety. So in our world out there, we work with a lot of security integrators, electrical contractors, architectural and engineering firms. So you can see here, leading out into the expansion capability, there is a lot to offer. How easy is it to integrate? We shared this before without going into the nitty-gritty of software. The APIs are open. That means we welcome any manufacturer or producers of a particular hard product that performs a certain task, collects certain data, whether on the human body or off. That to Ayurveda is pure data. Data that we come in and can teach, learn, and then adapt to a certain task or purpose. So I'm very excited to where all this is going. We're working in the hospital asset protection on the other side of our company, you know, the physical smart city side of our company. So if you can imagine our care program going into facilities, departments of hospitals, it's endless evolution.
I was going to say, it just all seems so like rife with possibility right now. And
yes,
that's kind of, again, it's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you so much about it, because just being able to kind of like take that background in smart city, and you know, already smart cities have to have like a wide level of sophistication to them, and being able to gather information and make data, being able to translate that into something that, you know, a lot of people are very well familiar with. The concept of a smart home is, like you said, it's just a large amount of possibility going on there.
Correct. When we say smarts, I think we prematurely used that word 5 or 10 years ago. Yeah, for the home. You know, a light turning on when a motion sensor detects you, that's not smart, Nick. That's triggered technology, right? So when you talk to me, I'm going to be pretty blunt to that. When I was a kid, I worked for Radio Shack, man. So I always reference Radio Shack, you know? So where smarts has to come into play is, I give an example. A smart city starts with components and sections of the city. You can't just magically make something smart. But let's take it down to the home and the neighborhood and the HOA and the community. Imagine this. You pull out the garbage can. Our garbage cans now can be equipped with sensors. Sensors that will say it's either on the side of our home or now in the front of our home. You take that to the next level. City garbage bins. How full are those bins? When you detect this, you have to also have the intelligence and the systems and communications infrastructure in place to say, okay, here is the nearest truck. Here is the nearest city waste vehicle. This is where you send that alert. You don't just send an email back home and then hope somebody comes into the office, reads it, and then finds the nearest driver and dispatch. A smart city has to do all of what I just shared with you automatically. It has to do it autonomously. That's where smart comes into play. Anything else that just sends a text and an email and still requires a human to verify and execute a task is not very smart. So our goal here is anything that Ayveda Care or Ayveda provides, our little motto is focus on what matters. We just want to send you data that matters to you most at that time. So yeah, to be smart, there's a lot of intricate components that have to be interconnected, Nick, with decision-making that is autonomous. That to me is when we work on smart technologies from a city down to our home. That's got to be true, right? Who cares how many times you flush your toilet? It's why that happened.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
I totally agree with you.
Yes.
I've been trying to make that distinction myself with a lot of the conversations in the smart home space, where it's like there's a key difference between smart and connected technologies. And
yes, sir.
I think that's the big one. But there is one final question that I wanted to ask you before we kind of wrap things up. And I think it's obviously the most important question for our audience at CE Pro, which is, who do you see being the primary delivery channel of this technology?
Oh, I believe this has got to be going into a partner reseller integrator network. And this is what I want to say here. Ayveda prides ourselves in as a technology developer, right? Leveraging technology-led solutions, but in installing, deploying, and implementing the solutions, we have a lot of partners around the world. That's how we can say that we're working around the world, is without our integrator partners, there's no way that we would be able to actually touch the customer. We got to be able to have the ability to assist the end user in the physical installation. Now, mind you, Ayveda Care, those who are listening, Ayveda Care has a simple starter kit, DIY. But if I give this to my mom, as DIY as something is, mom's going to call for help. And I'm not going to be there. I can't be there, right? So she calls the local electrician. She calls the local security or video surveillance guy, just the technology handyman. We want to call them that. So we're going to require a network of partners out there. And I believe there's great opportunities. We're hearing a lot of conversations and discussions now throughout the company with a multitude of different partners, not just directly involved in the medical and care industry, but more in the like Geek Squad, right? Geek Squad. Yeah, that's the kind of activity that's really going to scale the go to market, where more consumers will be able to experience what Ayveda has launched. Yes, it's available on our website. You can order it. We'll ship you one and DIY, right? But the goal here is to reach millions of potential need and folks who are requiring this. We will require a network of value add resellers, and those are the integrators throughout the world.
I think another good thing to point out too is just the familiarity that a lot of integrators today have with making home automations, these automated solutions. And I think that's another big thing that you would mention DIY, where it's like, you're always going to have the kind of like do it for me crowd, where it's like they just say, well, I don't want to get into that. I don't have the time for it. Or whatever the reason is. There's a lot of different reasons to bring a professional on. But I think in terms of integration, automation is another big thing, because, somebody who has been creating these automated home systems for, years, decades, even for some people. It's like they're going to be able to really make the full potential of this thing kind of shine in a lot of cases.
Totally. I thank you for bringing up home automation, and I love that industry. I mean, home automation was 10, 15, 20 years ago. We heard that term, and it requires a very unique focus professional back 20 years ago. But that same pro today has a lot of assistance from enhanced software and enhanced applications that will leverage what they've installed in homes 20 years ago and simply add more value and a feature-rich experience, leveraging an app and technology for which Ayveda Care was built upon. So I think that's a little hint from me there out to the industry, is that we pride ourselves on our smart city side in leveraging existing infrastructure. So Nick, for our friends out there in the community of home automation, by God, Ayveda's got a lot for them to play with. Smart power, smart energy, smart home. It's all about software and automation now. And we can leverage existing sensors, existing hardware that are still functional. That's what I call existing infrastructure.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better myself. So, but before we wrap things up here, I figure I'd ask, if there are any integrators out there, or just really anybody listening in on this podcast who wants to kind of like reach out, learn more about Ayveda Care, or just or get a little bit more in-depth in discussions with, some of the business opportunities there, what would the best way for them to, contact either you or the company be?
Yeah, well, specifically Ayveda Care, we welcome you to go to ayvedacare.com. There's a direct link particular to this product. But yes, send us an email at support@ayveda.com, and we'll route it correctly, whether it's business development, partner, reseller. I see those come in, people tell me those. I'd be happy to have direct conversations with anybody that's interested in really scaling. Our communities need this. I think it's a necessary education, and we can't do it all ourselves. And I really need the community support. So we're more than willing to help educate, to help bring out awareness, and of course, just show how it works and try a kit, guys. It's quite affordable. I think it's less than $150 now, and download the app, get familiar with it. And that's where the good questions come up, right? That's when you start really thinking when you see it for yourself.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, David, I want to say thank you once again for taking the time to come on and chat with me.
I appreciate the opportunity, Nick. Like I said, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to share and spread the awareness. But yeah, we're very proud of Ayveda Care. We look forward to it becoming a true force multiplier for a lot of people who are needing something like this, and they just need to hear about it. So thank you for helping me spread the word. It's going to help a lot of people.